Do you think Tyson still has a lot to give to the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I do think Tyson has a lot to give to the heavyweight because, you know, he's a good boxer, and there's a lot of guys out there that he hasn't boxed, such as the guys due to box. You know, there's a guy, he could box a lot of people out there. But, you know, like he said, you know, who are they? They have to be somebody good for him to box, because he has to have that type of person. He has to have a
Tyson Fury just made a career-defining decision that has the entire boxing world questioning his sanity. After 16 months away from the ring, the Gypsy King isn't easing back with some washed-up journeyman or a carefully selected tune-up fight. No, he's stepping straight into the fire against Arslanbek Makhmudov, a knockout artist who's been demolishing heavyweights and building a reputation as one of the most dangerous unranked fighters on the planet. We're talking about a guy who doesn't just win fights, he ends them. Violently, in the first round. And Fury, he's acting like this is exactly what he wanted, like he's been craving this level of danger. But here's what nobody's talking about. There's way more at stake here than just another heavyweight bout. This fight could either cement Fury's legacy as the most fearless champion of his generation, or it could be the moment we watch greatness crumble in real time.
He looked good. I think that mentally he's in a good place. Physically, he looked good as well. He's been working well out in Thailand, and I sort of agree with Paulie. I think that he's, you know, he's a massive addition to the heavyweight scene. He has been over the last 10 years, and I think it's good to have him back. You know, we need the characters. We need, look, are the legs?
Let me paint you the picture of what Fury's been doing in Thailand, because this isn't your typical training camp. Spencer Oliver, who's got inside access to Fury's preparation, is saying things that should have every boxing fan paying attention. Fury isn't just physically fit, he's in what Oliver describes as perfect physical condition. That's not language you use lightly when you're talking about a heavyweight who's notorious for showing up out of shape, but it goes deeper than just the physique. Oliver's talking about mental sharpness, focus, and a level of preparation that suggests Fury knows exactly what kind of monster he's about to face. The Thailand camp isn't some vacation training session. It's been a calculated, methodical preparation for war. And here's the kicker: Fury's team could have picked literally anyone for his comeback fight. Former champions looking for one last payday, aging contenders past their prime, or up-and-coming prospects who'd be honored just to share the ring. Instead, they specifically sought out the most dangerous possible opponent. That's not coincidence, that's strategy.
Anything. I feel like I'm in my prime still. I feel fast, I feel good moving, I feel everything's really good. I've been away in Thailand training, as everybody knows. It's been well documented all over my Instagram for the past however long. I know he's a giant. He's bigger than he says he is. He says he's about 6'4", but I think he's about 6'8". He's a big man. Knockout puncher for 14 or 15 first round KOs. And they say, why did you choose someone so dangerous as Arslanbek Makhmudov? Truth of the matter is, if I fight a pudding, I don't get turned on by that. I have to fight somebody dangerous to make me want to even train.
But here's where this gets absolutely wild. Makhmudov isn't just some random knockout artist. This guy has been systematically destroying heavyweights while flying completely under the radar. We're talking about a fighter who doesn't just win by knockout, he wins by first-round knockout. His opponents don't just lose, they get carried out. And the scary part? He's been doing this while barely getting any mainstream attention. That changes the moment he steps in with Fury. Suddenly, this relatively unknown destroyer is getting the biggest platform in boxing to showcase exactly why insiders have been whispering his name as a potential future champion. Frank Warren, who's promoted some of the biggest names in boxing history, is saying Fury brings something the heavyweight division desperately needs: entertainment, charisma, and the ability to turn every fight into a must-see event. But what Warren's really saying between the lines is that Fury's star power is so massive, it can elevate any opponent into a legitimate threat. And that's exactly what's happening here.
Yes, without a doubt. The charisma that he brings, and you see another stadium fight, he brings all this, and he brings excitement. He's got, he's...
Now listen to this part, because it reveals everything about Fury's mindset right now. The man himself is on record saying he's not intimidated by Makhmudov's size, his knockout record, or his reputation for ending fights early. Fury's actually embracing the danger. He's talking about being in his physical and mental peak, about moving sharp and thinking clearly. But more importantly, he's explaining his philosophy. He doesn't want easy fights. He doesn't want to pad his record or take safe money fights. He wants to be tested against the most dangerous opponents available because that's what separates true champions from pretenders. This isn't just confidence talking. This is a fighter who understands that his legacy isn't built on who he avoided, but on who he chose to face when everyone else was telling him to take the easy route. And that mindset. That's what makes him simultaneously the most respected and most unpredictable heavyweight in the division.
Tyson Fury has been out of the ring for well over a year now. By the time he gets back in the ring on April the 11th, he will have been out of the ring for well over a year. You're probably talking close to 15, 16 months. It's a long time, especially for someone who is more of a mover, more a boxer. It's not like a pressure fighter who...
Here's what's got everyone in boxing circles nervous, though. That 16-month layoff. Liam Goff from Press Cup is asking the questions that every hardcore fan is thinking. Can a fighter who relies on timing, footwork, and finesse maintain those skills after more than a year away from competition? We've seen it happen before. Great fighters who looked unstoppable took extended breaks and came back looking like shadows of themselves. Their timing was off, their movement was sluggish, their ring IQ was still there, but their body couldn't execute what their mind was telling them to do. For power punchers, layoffs are less devastating because raw strength doesn't disappear overnight. But for technical fighters like Fury, who built his reputation on being unhittable, on making heavyweights miss by inches, on controlling distance and pace, that's the kind of skill that rust can destroy. The Thailand training camp suggests Fury's team is aware of this risk. But training camp sparring and real fight conditions are completely different animals.
Yes, he's a legend, like a big name in boxing, but
And get this, Makhmudov is treating this exactly like you'd expect a hungry contender to treat the opportunity of a lifetime. He's not starstruck by Fury's reputation or intimidated by the bright lights and big stage. In his own words, he's focused on carving out his legacy and proving himself against one of boxing's biggest names. That's the most dangerous type of opponent you can face, someone who has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Makhmudov knows that beating Fury doesn't just win him a fight, it launches him into immediate title contention and changes his entire career trajectory. Meanwhile, Fury has everything to lose. A loss here doesn't just derail his comeback, it potentially ends his reign as the division's top draw and raises serious questions about whether the layoff cost him more than anyone realized. The pressure dynamic is completely lopsided, and that's exactly the kind of scenario where upsets happen. But wait, it gets even more intense when you really break down what this fight represents for the heavyweight division as a whole. Fury isn't just the most skilled heavyweight, he's the most entertaining, the biggest draw, and the guy who brings casual fans to the sport. Frank Warren emphasized this. Fury's presence elevates every fight into an event, forces other heavyweights to step up their games, and keeps the entire division relevant in mainstream sports conversation. If Makhmudov pulls off the upset, he doesn't just beat Fury, he inherits that spotlight and becomes the new face of heavyweight boxing overnight. The ripple effects would be massive. Suddenly, every heavyweight contender would be chasing Makhmudov instead of Fury. The entire landscape of the division shifts. And here's what makes it even crazier. Makhmudov has the perfect style to cause problems for Fury. While Fury's been facing other technical heavyweights and outboxing them, Makhmudov represents pure, explosive power combined with the kind of aggressive pressure that could disrupt Fury's rhythm before he gets comfortable. Hold up, because there's something else nobody's mentioning about the timing of this fight. April 11th isn't just a random date on the calendar. It's perfectly positioned to either launch Fury into massive summer fights against the division's other champions, or to completely derail those plans if Makhmudov pulls off the shocking upset. The boxing politics here are incredible. If Fury wins impressively, he proves the layoff didn't hurt him and sets up potential unification fights worth hundreds of millions of dollars. If he struggles or loses, suddenly those mega fights disappear and we're looking at a completely different heavyweight landscape. Makhmudov knows this too. He understands that this isn't just about beating Fury, it's about timing the upset at the perfect moment to maximize his own opportunities. The stakes couldn't be higher for both men, but they're high in completely different ways. So here's where everything comes together for what might be the most compelling heavyweight fight in years. You've got Fury, who's betting his entire legacy on the belief that 16 months away didn't cost him the skills that made him unstoppable. His confidence, his Thailand preparation, his deliberate choice of the most dangerous possible opponent. It all suggests a fighter who believes he's still at his peak and wants to prove it in the most dramatic way possible. Then you've got Makhmudov, who's been waiting his entire career for this exact moment, the chance to face a legendary champion at potentially the perfect time, when ring rust might be a factor and the pressure is entirely on his opponent. The contrast in styles is perfect for fireworks. Fury's movement, boxing IQ, and ability to control distance against Makhmudov's devastating power and aggressive pressure. Experience versus hunger. Proven greatness versus dangerous potential. The mental warfare aspect of this fight is already fascinating, and we haven't even reached fight week yet. Fury's talking about embracing danger and being in perfect condition, projecting confidence and control. Makhmudov staying focused on his own legacy and not getting caught up in Fury's mind games. But here's what's really happening. Both fighters are trying to convince themselves as much as everyone else. Fury needs to believe the layoff didn't hurt him, that his skills are intact, and that his choice of opponent was smart rather than reckless. Makhmudov needs to believe he belongs on this stage, that his power can overcome Fury's experience, and that this is his moment rather than just another showcase fight for the champion. The psychological pressure is immense for both men, but it's different types of pressure. Fury's dealing with expectations and the weight of his reputation. Makhmudov's dealing with opportunity and the fear of letting his career-defining moments slip away. Look, when you strip away all the hype and promotion, this fight comes down to one simple question. Is Tyson Fury still the same fighter who dominated the heavyweight division before his layoff? Or has 16 months of inactivity created just enough vulnerability for a dangerous puncher to exploit? Everything else is just noise. Fury's Thailand training, his confidence, his careful preparation, none of that matters if his timing is off by half a second when Makhmudov throws that first big right hand. And Makhmudov's knockout record, his hunger, his perfect opportunity, none of that matters if Fury's boxing IQ and movement are still elite level. This is heavyweight boxing at its purest. Skill versus power, experience versus ambition, proven greatness versus dangerous potential. And the beautiful thing, we won't know who was right until they're actually in there throwing punches. So there you have it. Tyson Fury's comeback fight isn't just another heavyweight bout. It's a calculated gamble with his entire legacy on the line against a knockout artist who's been waiting his whole career for this exact opportunity. The 16-month layoff either sharpened Fury's focus or dulled his skills, and we're about to find out which one in the most dramatic way possible. This isn't just about boxing anymore. This is about whether greatness can survive extended absence, whether hunger can overcome experience, and whether the most dangerous comeback fight in recent memory will end in validation or devastation. And honestly, the fact that we genuinely don't know the answer is what makes this unmissable. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Do you think Fury's Thailand preparation and natural ability overcome the layoff, or is Makhmudov catching him at the perfect moment for an upset? If this breakdown got you hyped for April 11th, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because this fight is going to deliver fireworks, and I'll have full coverage of every moment. Mark your calendars, because missing this would mean skipping what could be the heavyweight upset of the decade. I'll see you in the next one. But here's what's really driving me crazy about this whole situation. The media and so-called boxing experts are completely missing the deeper story here. They're treating this like Fury just randomly picked a dangerous opponent because he was bored or wanted to prove something. That's surface-level thinking. What's actually happening is that Fury and his team have identified something specific about Makhmudov that they believe they can exploit, and they're using this fight as a statement to the entire heavyweight division. Think about it. If you're Fury and you want to send a message to Usyk, Joshua, Wilder, and every other top heavyweight that you're not just back, but you're back and more dangerous than ever, what better way than to absolutely dismantle the most feared knockout artist that nobody's talking about? The genius of this matchmaking goes even deeper when you consider the business side. Fury's not just fighting for his legacy, he's fighting for his market value. Those massive unification fights we've all been waiting for, they only happen if Fury proves he's still the draw, still the attraction, still the guy who can turn any opponent into a household name overnight. By choosing Makhmudov, Fury's essentially saying he doesn't need a big-name opponent to create a massive event. He can take a relative unknown, build him into a legitimate threat through sheer force of personality and promotion, and then prove his superiority when it matters most. That's not just confidence, That's understanding your own power in the sport at a level that most fighters never reach. And let's talk about something that's been bothering me since this fight was announced. Everyone keeps focusing on Fury's 16-month layoff like it's automatically a negative. But what if it's actually the opposite? What if those 16 months weren't just time away from boxing, but time to let his body recover from years of wars, time to get his mind right, time to remember why he loves fighting in the first place? We've seen fighters come back from extended breaks looking refreshed, motivated, and more dangerous than ever. Muhammad Ali did it. Sugar Ray Leonard did it. Sometimes stepping away from the sport gives you perspective that active fighters don't have. Maybe Fury's not coming back diminished. Maybe he's coming back evolved. The training footage and reports coming out of Thailand are telling a story that nobody wants to acknowledge because it doesn't fit the narrative of a risky comeback fight. Fury looks faster than he has in years. His movement is crisp, his combinations are sharp, and most importantly, he looks like he's enjoying himself in a way we haven't seen since his early comeback fights against Wilder. That joy, that genuine love of fighting, is what separated Prime Fury from every other heavyweight. When Fury's having fun in there, when he's loose and confident and creative, he becomes virtually unbeatable. The question isn't whether he's lost a step physically. The question is whether he's rediscovered that mental state that made him special in the first place. Here's something else that's fascinating about Makhmudov's approach to this fight. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's not suddenly becoming a boxer or trying to outthink Fury. He knows exactly what he brings to the table: devastating power, relentless pressure, and the ability to end fights with one shot. That's actually the smartest possible approach against someone like Fury, who's used to opponents trying to match his boxing ability and falling into his traps. Makhmudov's strategy is beautifully simple: get close, stay close, and make every exchange dangerous. It's the kind of game plan that can work regardless of ring rust or layoffs, because it doesn't rely on timing or finesse. It relies on heart, chin, and the willingness to walk through punishment to land something devastating. But what makes this even more compelling is that Fury has never really faced someone with Makhmudov's specific combination of size, power, and hunger. Wilder had the power but not the boxing fundamentals. White had the aggression but not the pure knockout ability. Chisora had the heart but not the physical tools. Makhmudov represents something different, a fighter who can potentially match Fury physically while bringing a completely different mental approach to the fight. He's not intimidated by Fury's reputation, not impressed by his accomplishments, and not concerned about the magnitude of the moment. That's either going to lead to a spectacular knockout or a spectacular beating, but either way, it's going to be spectacular. The international implications of this fight are huge too, and I don't think people are talking about this enough. Makhmudov represents a new generation of Eastern European heavyweights who are technically sound, physically imposing, and completely fearless. If he beats Fury, it doesn't just change his career. It validates an entire approach to heavyweight development and training. Suddenly, every promoter in the world is going to be looking for the next Makhmudov, and the heavyweight division becomes even more global and competitive than it already is. Fury's not just defending his position as the top heavyweight, he's defending the established order of the entire division. The psychological warfare is already starting to heat up, and this is where Fury usually excels. But here's what's different this time: Makhmudov isn't playing the game. He's not getting drawn into verbal battles or mind games. He's staying focused on his preparation and his opportunity. That actually makes him more dangerous, not less. Fury's used to getting inside his opponents' heads, making them overthink, making them fight emotionally instead of strategically. If Makhmudov stays disciplined and sticks to his game plan regardless of what Fury says or does, that takes away one of Fury's biggest advantages. The mental warfare only works if your opponent participates. If Makhmudov just ignores it and focuses on throwing punches, Fury has to beat him purely on boxing ability. What's really got my attention, though, is the way both fighters are talking about this fight in interviews. There's a level of mutual respect that you don't always see in heavyweight boxing. Fury's not dismissing Makhmudov or treating him like a tune-up fight. He's acknowledging the danger and preparing accordingly. Makhmudov's not trash-talking or trying to create controversy. He's showing respect for Fury's accomplishments while making it clear he believes this is his time. That mutual respect actually makes the fight more dangerous for both men, because it means they're both taking it seriously, both preparing at the highest level, and both understanding that one mistake could end everything. The timing of this fight in April is perfect for creating maximum drama in the heavyweight division. If Fury wins convincingly, he immediately becomes the most sought-after opponent for every champion and contender in the division. The phone starts ringing with offers for massive unification fights, and suddenly we're looking at a summer and fall packed with must-see heavyweight action. But if Makhmudov pulls off the upset, everything changes overnight. Suddenly, he's the most dangerous fighter nobody saw coming, and every heavyweight has to completely recalculate their strategies and plans. The entire landscape of the division shifts, and we're looking at a completely different set of fights and storylines for the rest of the year.